All right, well, welcome to Stock Analysis Friday today. Today is July 5th, 2024. Hope everybody had a great July 4th. One of my favorite holidays of the year. Gotta love the fireworks, the whole celebration, right? But anyway, here we are back to work. Markets are a little mixed today. All right, some are up or some are down. The indexes, we're going to take a look at a few stocks. Bitcoin is tumbling right now, and it's going into its target zone for a major wave 4. So we want to definitely take a look at that. All right, so let me go full screen here, and let's go ahead and hop in and take a look at some of the administrational items I need to cover before we can get going. All right, audio's okay, visual's okay. Yeah, well, that's important. And let me know if that continues not to, if that does not do well, let me know. All right, first thing to talk about are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two go hand in hand. You need to be aware of it, though, and of course, plan accordingly. First thing you want to do, of course, is always fund your trading account or even your investments with money you can afford to risk. That's super important. We call that risk capital. Next thing to do is know how to do your risk control on each and every trade. So whenever you enter a trade, you got to take into account where you're going to get out and what the potential loss could be if you get out and the trade does not work. Likewise, if the trade works, you want to try to keep your wins larger than your losses, especially if you're around a win rate of around 60%. Now, if you're scalping the market and you got a win rate of around 80 to 85%, then your win to loss ratio, the risk to reward, can be a little less, okay? So take that into account. You're just going to have to see how that goes and test it before trading with real money. Also, too, check with your financial advisor on anything we recommend here. I'm going to give you my analysis based with my software, but of course, I don't know your personal situation. And so definitely check with somebody that does to make sure these trades are suitable for you. And then also, too, a little on the risk control thing, I'm going to put a link up here for an account called an Apex account. And if you're thinking about day trading, especially, it's basically for the futures only, but if you're thinking about day trading, definitely would recommend the Apex prop account funding. That way you're not risking any of your own money, and you get an evaluation account, and you have to pass that evaluation account before you get funded. So if you're not up to it, you're not going to pass. And so it's a great way for you to practice until you start to pass and get funded. And then you can be off to the races because you'll earn 90% of any of your gains. And there are rules within those prop accounts that you have to do, but basically they're all designed to make sure you're a good trader. And so I have nothing wrong with that in terms of their rules. The other nice thing is they give you free futures live data. So you're good for that. But again, it's built for day trading. They want you out of the market at the end of the day. I put a link up there if you want to look at it a little bit more. I also put one of our codes up there that give you a discount on that. All right, let's keep going here. All right, in terms of software, we use the Applied Reality Trading System, all right, and it consists of the ART, OWL, PTF, TLM scanners, and also risk control software. So we try to cover all the main avenues that you need to cover when you trade the financial markets. Here's a little blurb again on Apex. If you're interested in this, again, the link is up there, but these are the payouts that are actually being done. So it is possible. Day trading is extremely difficult until you have it, until you have the edge. Once you have the edge, you're good to go. And people that are getting paid out have the edge, but you got to work at it, okay? It's not that easy, but it is doable, but you have to learn how to do it. And we can help you with that. We're going to have a webinar, actually a live tutorial this fall that's going to deal with what you need to do to try to get funded and passed. All right, give us a like right now if you wouldn't mind taking a moment here. Give us a like, and you've already subscribed, and share it with as many people as that helps the channel. All right, let's jump out here real quick. I'm going to cover Bitcoin before we get going. But go ahead and type your stocks in that you want me to look at in caps, and I'll be glad to get to those. And that's either ETFs or stocks themselves. All right, a couple things first before we jump in on what you're looking at. This is my platform set up on NinjaTrader, And I like the NinjaTrader platform, but our software also works on TradeStation. It works on MT4, MT5. It works as well on eSignal and multi-charts. We're looking into TradingView. If anybody knows a good programmer out there that can do TradingView, let me know, okay? And that is one area that we're considering. All right, so what are you looking at here? On the far left-hand side, we have a 60-minute chart here. All right, in the center chart, we have a daily chart. And then over here is a weekly chart. So why do we do this? Well, the 60-minute gives us a short-term glimpse on the market we're analyzing. The daily chart is what we call an intermediate, or this is our primary chart for position trading as well. And then the weekly charts are a long-term look at what we're looking at. So they call this type of analysis multiple time frame analysis. And then we have our software loaded on each chart. And so this is the OWL, which is part of our software, the PTF, Trendline Master, TLM, all these are acronyms that stand for something. And then the ERI, which is the Emotional Reader Index. Then up on price itself, we have pyramid trading points, which are looking at trend trades based on fractal analysis. We have art reversals that we can use to scalp the market. And you can use these on the Apex accounts as well. What else do we have? We have trend lines being drawn, we have fibs, and we use Elliott wave. And we do this on each time frame to give us an outlook of what's going on short-term, intermediate, and long. And the way you read this is basically anything on the left-hand side, the short-term side, is probably going to happen before the chart in the middle, and the middle chart's going to happen before the chart on the right. So short-term, intermediate, and long-term. All right, Bitcoin, quick analysis on that. All right, so here is our fib retracement center. We thought we might have had a bottom in here, but we just took that out, okay? So now we're in the actual high probability target zone. So this is a wave 4 that's forming now. This is a 3, all right? And this is a broader based ABC. So I think we got a little more room to the downside, simply because if we go to the short-term chart over here, we have a red PTF. And this PTF indicator, believe it or not, has a 75% accuracy rate. And so when it's red, it's saying more lows are coming, even if you're getting a little bounce off the low like here. So basically what we're saying, that indicator is saying, is that is not the final bottom. So wave 4 is not done. And what's interesting on wave 4 over here is 70% of the time, you do get penetration into the wave 4 target zone, which is a fib retracement. And that fib retracement is between 55,271 down to, I believe, 48. Let me just, 43, sorry. 43,694. And we're currently, what, at 56,300. So we're smack in it, but I don't think it's quite over. So this is setting up to be possibly a good buy, because after that wave 4 is finished, then you get another bullish wave 5. And that wave 5 will take out the previous high here, which is wave 3. And there are 5 waves in a trend. So based on probability, that 5th wave will exceed wave 3. And once we have a bottom in here, we can then draw it in a fib extension to get a target zone for wave 5. So it's very methodical, but right now we don't want to draw that in until we're sure we have a bottom in place, and I don't think we do. So it's still coming down. Now, I also think for those that aren't in it, this is going to be, when it turns around here a little bit, a great buying opportunity, all right, to take it up one more time. For those that are in long term and you're holding this, well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're weathering the storm here. All right, now, if you traded this and got out early, this is another opportunity to get in. So another reason we're confident that this is a 4 that will be followed by a 5 with new highs is if we look on the long-term chart over here, we have a green PTF. Don't forget, 75% probability accuracy rate that it's going to take out the high in that green area, which is the wave 3 high that occurred here. All right, so basically, little pullback here. Wave 4 is a profit-taking pullback. After that's finished, then we can get ready to excel back to the upside. So that's kind of where we're at now. We'll take a look at it next week. I think you probably got another week or so of maybe movement down, then maybe movement sideways before we go back up. All right, so I just want to cover that real quick. All right, I think everybody is hearing me okay. Good, excellent. All right, and let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and get going here. All right, Kumar, how are you? All right, so you are long CMG. So let's take a look at that one. By the way, this blue line here is a 200-day moving average, okay? So we had, if that data is correct on the left-hand side, I'm not sure it is, but we had a gap down on this, all right? So you can actually see it, I think, better on the daily chart, a little more orderly, but there it is. I mean, there it is there too. So what's going on with CMG? Is there any news out on that over the last week? Because basically it gapped down. This is the first time I've looked at this. Is the data incorrect, or is it incorrect, obviously? So if that's the case, and we're looking at this on the weekly chart, it looks a little bit correct there, 61.99. I just don't have any data from it gapping down. So in this case here, all right, we've got a yellow PTF now on the weekly. We've got these red PTFs, and I'm not sure the data is correct on CMG. I'd have to really double and triple check that. But you definitely, I guess for you, what I would do is use this pyramid trading point on the weekly chart. And that has a low of 60.59. And the current low here is 60.25. Okay. So that would be an exit off this swing to the upside. But you still have a pretty strong owl on the weekly chart. So if the data is incorrect on the lower time frames, then I would think probably you'll get a move back to the upside. And let me know what you're finding out about that data, okay? See if that is what your charts look like. All right, let's take a look at NVIDIA. Okay. Let me check some of these connections here. Yeah, so we're all connected properly to the data. All right, so on NVIDIA here, higher highs coming. All right, we've got a bullish long-term chart, a bullish intermediate position trading chart, and green PTFs across the board. So if you've been in this a while, there's no reason to get out of it. If you want to stay with it long term, you got to set your stop a little bit lower than these pyramids that are formed on the daily chart. So we've got one on the weekly chart fairly far away at this particular point. But when this PTF turns yellow and yellow, I think I would ratchet those stops up to the daily chart. So I'd keep my stop back for now and use the weekly chart stop, which is pretty far away. And then when those PTFs on the shorter time frames, in other words, the daily and also the weekly turn yellow, then at that particular point, I'd ratchet those stops closer. So stay with that. Let's take a look at Tesla. All right, so Tesla is starting to break out again to the upside, and we kind of are looking at this. Notice it came down into the wave 4 target zone. This is kind of what I'm expecting Bitcoin will eventually do, is start to move back up. So again, I would say this is looking pretty good at this point for a buy, and I put my stop at the very bottom here. You can put your stop right under here at a low of 167.40. Now you're going to get a pullback on this, and then probably get some type of pyramid, because you technically don't have a bullish pyramid yet. So you may want to wait for the pullback before getting in on that on a position trade. And we're probably going to get a pullback to around 210 at some point, because that's basically a 50% retracement. Let's run the numbers on that, but that's kind of what that's looking like to me. So probably I'm not going to recommend this one because it's so far away, but there's my line pretty much right at the 50% mark at 210. So I would think any pullback to 220 to 200 would be a buy on this one. It could go a little higher before it pulls back, but it will pull back. And I think you may want to wait for that, unless you want to take it as a long-term trade and hold it. This should get above 450 again at some point. So a wave 3 on the weekly, 4, and now we're working our way up to 5. And you may want to wait for this pullback before getting in, or if you want to go in now or take an option now, you certainly could do it. But again, options will be pretty pricey on this bullish move right now over the last week. But Tesla's a buy, okay, for sure. But I would wait for a pullback. So I'm not going to put it down as a buy right now. Let's put it on the watch list and grab it when it pulls back. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days that it broke out. Okay. All right. Good one to look at, though. All right. So let's take a look. Jim, how are you doing? VOO. Long and looking to add. Okay. All right. I probably would not add on this right now. Okay. Not that it can't go higher, but it's such an extended move up on pretty much all the time frames. We have not had the pullback yet. So if we get a pullback at any time, you're talking about it pulling back to 458. So I'd probably wait for that pullback before adding on. And we have now a yellow PTF on the daily and the weekly. Still a green on here, so a little higher. But I don't think it's going to pay off if you get in now, because I think you could get in now. You may have another week or so of bullishness and then a big reversal. So that would be my worry on that. So wait for it to pull back a little bit. Hopefully you've been in it a while. But again, you know, is it better to get in here or even here? All right. Okay, better here, right? And if you got in here, you would have been stopped out up here. So you would have been back in. So I kind of would wait on that a little bit. All right. Let's take a look at USO. All right. So USO seems now to be breaking once again to the upside. You know, the last time we looked at this, we had the pennant drawn here on the weekly chart. Let me circle that. Okay. And now we're breaking to the upside of the pennant. I'm liking this. Again, probably get a little bit of a pullback, but I think this is a major bottom down here in the oil market. I think now all stops should be here, no lower. If we break this high, I'd even move the stop up here. All right, or you could keep it on that pyramid. But in any case here, my target for oil is between 99, basically 100 to 124. Okay, and it seems like we may be starting to break out and make a run for that. Now, I do think we'll get a pullback because, again, look how many price bars you've had in a row. Not unlikely to get a little bit of short-term profit taking before it goes up. But if your stop is under here, under that low here, you should be just fine. So you want to continue to hold that. All right. All right. KOLD. Let's take a look at that. This is a short on natural gas, he says. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we looked at this before, and here is an area that we want to see it break above. Okay, and it's moving off its bottom. It's got a green PTF. And so this green PTF is basically the price level of this red line. That's why we drew it up there. All right, so it's probably got a good chance of breaking that red line. And I would say notice the lower time frames are starting to actually be bullish. We have no longer any bearishness on the short-term time frames. Again, we've had a number of price bars to the upside. So if you wanted to wait for a pullback or an entry, it might not be a bad idea. All right. So I'm liking this, but I'd wait off a little bit for a pullback. And let's just take a look at UNG, which is the ETF, regular ETF for natural gas. And you can see that moving down too. Okay. But in this case, we have a green PTF here, but we could head down into this bottom area. So the problem with taking the KOLD trade here is that looks to me like it's probably going to turn around. I mean, UNG is going to go a little lower, which will make KOLD be a little higher. But if this bottom holds and we see a big turnaround, then you're going to want to exit KOLD, but quick, and make sure you're in UNG. Okay. There are some longs out there on UNG with a bottom here, anticipating this is a major bottom. Okay. So keep that in mind. I would not get into this yet unless that bottom holds. So I probably would not get in KOLD, and I probably would not get in UNG. And let's see if if this bottom is going to hold. And if so, then you're going to want to take a bullish trade on UNG. If it doesn't hold, then at that particular point, you may want to consider KOLD. Okay. So it's one of those type of things. All right. Constance, how are you? All right. LPX. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So you're watching. Okay. Own them. Okay. So you're long on this one, I would assume. All right. Well, it's coming down a little bit, right? So let's see what we've got here. We got bearish divergence here. Worst case scenario, you want your stop at this pyramid here at 71.38, one tick under. I don't know how long you've been in these, but if they're long term and we break that pyramid, chances are we're going to go into a fairly significant correction. So we've got a nice move down here. All right. And you can certainly see we're starting to fill that gap over here. So I don't think we're quite done coming down yet. Let's see when we get a turnaround on this. We may get a little bit of a movement up and then one more low, or it may just head on down here. We've got a red owl on the daily time frame, and that's the histogram here. So that shows bearish momentum at this particular point. But again, if you use this stop here, that's going to be equivalent to down here, stop down here. Okay. Actually right there. Okay. So you should, unless this is if this is just a minor profit taking, a stop here is going to keep you in. All right. If you had gotten in earlier and this was a trade, short-term trade, then you would be out already up here at a really nice profit. But if this is long-term, keep your stop down here. And if that does not hold, then you want to get out. All right, let's take a look at T. All right, so T is long-term chart bouncing off a bottom here, has been for a good year or so. And now we've got green PTF here, no longer red. And so we're still moving up. So if you own them, I would just hold it at this point. If you have owned it for a long time, then we may be starting a new leg up. And of course, if we're starting a new major leg up on the weekly chart, you'll have a lot of zigzags as these things move up. So don't be surprised if you get any pullbacks. If you're more interested in a short-term trade, then use this pyramid here for a stop. And that pyramid would give you a low of $17.42, so $17.42. One tick under that, $17.41 would be an excellent exit for a swing trade. All right, let's keep going on FCX. Okay, this one is pretty volatile. When you look at the shorter time frames, are pretty much all over the place. All right, so you had a lot of messiness in here for a long time. Now you've broken out of the messiness. So now the trend is up, right? So the question is you're going to continue. It looks like it is. The long-term charts are bullish. Let's try to figure out where it's going to go, though. Let's see kind of where we're at on this. So this was a fairly nice move up. We had a correction here, another high here. Then we went into an ABC. Now it looks like we're going up here. I'm a little concerned that we may be topping here, okay? So I think you can find something better. So even though you may get a little juice out of this for a little bit and another high above this high here, like another high above 55. You know, it may go to 60, all right, which is not a bad trade, but you're getting toppy here. I don't think it's going to push much above 65, put it that way. So I'll leave that up to you as to what you want to do with that. But yeah, I see long trade, it could be possible here, but just be realistic on your expectations. All right. Kumar is saying CMG. Let's reload that and see if the data corrected itself. It's at 6213 now. Yep. Nope. That's what I'm showing too. And I assume you have this gap down. That was what I was concerned about on that data. So this is looking pretty good on the daily data now. Okay. So again, if you were long this and you were trading the swing here on the weekly chart, you'd be out. Same thing with the daily chart. Long-term trade, you're going to have to suffer through a pretty big correction possibly. That's kind of where you're at on that. Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. All right, let's take a look here. Longs here. So are you long on these? I assume you're long and not thinking of long. And again, these, what's interesting about some of these big boys here like Amazon is now they're getting, you know, our target on Amazon was what, 198.71 to 270. We're sitting at 199. So we're already now in the target zone. And what I would probably do since we reached the target zone is I'd probably put my stop on the pyramids here. So let's look at this. So that has a low of what, 182.23. That's 180. This one's probably going to be very similar, 180.08. That's unusual to have one lower. Hold on. All right, so let's see what that is. That's 180.08. Yeah, 182.23. So you could use either one of those stops. When you hit the target zone like this and all the PTFs are yellow, you want to use the closest pyramid. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you, but use the pyramids because that means at this particular point you want to follow it into the target as much as the market will take you, and the pyramids will do that. But if the market reverses and it starts to come down, then you want to get out in case that is the absolute top. So with Amazon here, I think we've got more leg room up. All right, this has been a pretty healthy correction, a pretty good move up. So I imagine we'll probably get, you know, around 233. That I think it's a pretty good bet you'll get there, but I don't have that kind of perfect crystal ball, and we are in the target zone. So I would trail my stops at this point. Try to stay in there as long as you can, but at the same time, if the market reverses, get out. AMD. Let's see how that one's doing. All right, so this one here kind of retraced into the target zone we were looking at. It looks like now we may be breaking out again to the upside, which would be great. All right, so we need to get kind of above this little mark here. Let me just draw this in here. And we're darn close to a breakout above that red line. So that red line sits on a price bar right here where my cursor is with a high of 174.55. And that was the May 28th price bar. So if we break above that, then I think probably that's a good correlation. We're on our way. We've already had a pyramid entry down here, all right, with a green owl at the particular point. And then we had green here. So that is one you could certainly take. My only concern with this one, all right, and this is something you got to really think about, is that we may still be, this may be a minor 4 inside of 3 because this is not gone red yet. And this has to go red for it to be a major 4. So that's the only concern right here. So that could mean if this is a 3, this could be an A, B, we could go up a little further and then come back down if this is red, or we could go sideways. I'd just like to see this red. Right now, this is a minor 4 inside of 3, and it doesn't mean it can't go on and make a new high from here. but it would be better if that was red. So I'm a little skeptical on this one here. So maybe be a little careful here on this one. We may get a big move up off this, but by the same token, we may not because it's not red yet. So how would you play this? Well, you may want to go in with half a position size, just in case the bottom's in. Let's take a look at TSM. All right. If you're long in this, we would be stopped out on this one at this point here. But if you're still long, why don't you put your stop below this 167, this price bar here. So stop at 167.11, one tick under, okay? But, you know, you have a very powerful owl on the weekly chart. So I think this is probably going higher and then going into a correction. And you just have now a green PTF. So I think probably you're going to break out to a new high here. But I think it's Russian roulette if you get in, because I think the next high probably will be the top of 3, and then we'll see a correction, okay? So in other words, to get in here would be late. But if you're already in, just trail it up. You're in good shape. TSM. All right, I think that was that. Okay, so we looked at that. All right, so let's go to LPX. That's our next one. All right, long-term in LPX. Okay, so again, if you're long-term, stop below the pyramid on the weekly chart would give you a stop at 71.38. Okay, and you're still correcting, but basically that's a great place to have your stop. You have bearish divergence, so we're kind of getting a little toppy here, okay? And notice the PTF on the weekly chart turned from green to yellow, and it did so also when that pyramid was hit on the daily chart as well. So for a long-term trade, exit at the pyramid, okay? And that's LPX. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, let's see. Don, did we take care of you? So this was hood long and PTL long. Let's take a look at those. Do me a favor, just type those in caps next time. Sometimes I miss them on the chat. All right, so hood long. Well, you have definitely, you're going in the. Are you already long in these? Because I think it's a little late to get in at this point. I'd wait for a pullback. If you're in it already, just use the pyramid here I would use this pyramid right here for a low of 20.38 for a stop. Okay. Let's take a look at PLTR. Okay, there we go. All right, so on PLTR, again, if you're long, just use the pyramid stops here. PTFs are starting to roll over to yellow. It did so in the short term. Not a lot of history on these, so I don't know exactly when you got in long, but it's pretty tough for me to give you a target, a long-term target, because there's only 3 years of data on the long-term charts. Let's see if that. So basically, I would just trade the trend on these. Keep your stop at the pyramid. All right. If you're not in it already, you know, you may get a little bit more movement to the upside, but you're starting to see bearish divergence as soon as we break over here. So again, not one of my favorites. Okay. All right, Eleanor, let's see. BROS. All right, I assume you're long on these, and I would just stay long. Not a lot of data, but on this one here, you're definitely following the trend, which is up. We have PTF on the 60 that says more highs are coming. Again, I don't know if it's really hard for me to get a target on the weekly chart. In other words, are we going to get above 80 again? It's impossible for me to really tell you that because there's just not a lot of data on that weekly chart for me to get an Elliott wave count on. On the shorter time frames here, you can see not much help there either. So the only thing I can really tell you here is that we have bearish divergence on the 60-minute chart, but we do have a green PTF. So you're probably going to get one more high. We don't have any divergence on the daily. So if you want to follow the trend up, just do that and use the pyramids. And so I'm not going to recommend it, but as long as you have your stop in place, just follow the trend up, and that would be a stop at 37.70. Okay. LPG. All right. So this one's got a lot of history here. Okay. Obviously compared. So, and we also have a nice Elliott wave 3 on the weekly chart. But, okay, we have bearish divergence on the owl here. We do have a green here. We have a green here. We have a green here. So chances are we're going to move back up and take out the highs here. Again, this is a good sign that we're probably moving up. So I'm going to say, let's see, where are we now? 43. If we put our stop around the $40 mark, that's $3.62 of risk. And we're trying to get to what? Above here, which is 51.66. So you've got, yeah, you don't quite, you're pretty close to a 2-to-1 on this. So probably, but you got a red owl down here. My only concern is I'm trying to make sure the correction is over before saying yes, go long. And even that, it's going to be a short-term trade. I almost would take this trade based off the 60-minute chart. All right, gap, ABC, moving up. We broke out of here. So let's just say on this one, let's say LPG would be a short-term trade. You'd probably be in it 1 week at the most, maybe not. Depends if it goes sideways. Your target is 1 tick over the all-time high here, and that's based off the daily charts target. So that would be 51.67 for your target. So if you wanted to take something like that, you could. Your stop's got to be, all right, either under here, and it could be under here because that would give you basically close to a 2-to-1. I would probably put my stop here though. Okay. So a stop, let's say right at a low of 41.61. So I'll put that on the buy list for a short-term trade, about a week, maybe 2. Okay, depends if it stalls or not. But that would be it. Okay, GCT. Okay, so we got a green PTF here, indicating a target above 45.18. We've got red here. Let me just see here. So if this was a 3 of some degree, that would be an A, B, C. C wave is a little shallower than A wave. I don't like that. Let's see if it hit the target zone though. So it hit the target zone fairly square. I like that. We've got green PTF here now. So moving out here, we'll probably get that. Okay. Let's see what else we get for a extension here. So the target would be 48.35 to 62, and we're at 32. Yeah, I think we could take that. GCT. Okay, that's a buy. All right, and put your stop. I'd put your stop under this bottom here, 25.22, or under this bottom here at 28.19. Okay, so do your risk control. So even if you use the lower stop, you're only going to take enough shares in this, so your risk is, no more than 2%. So if you use the closer stop, then your shares will be higher, but the risk will still be 2%. So the idea is that you can decide which stop you want to use, but also always maintain the risk. All right, so let's say TSM is our next one for Kumar. Let's see, Kumar, what you got? Good on that. All right, so still long, okay, and you're good there. Again, on this one here, I think we looked at this one, but again, I put my stop right there at the bottom. It's 167.11. Okay. All right, let's move on here. All right, long-term long, good. Okay, MET. All right, so MET here, little bit of weakness coming in, right? Let's open up that weekly chart. Not crazy about it. Looks like we've already taken out the high. Might have a little bit more room to the upside. History goes back to 2001, but that low here is not as low as this one. Kind of a tough take on that. Okay, bearish divergence building on this. So the question is, you're in this long term. You remove that. I probably would have been out back in 2023. Okay, because we took out this bottom here and then came back up. So this is not a very clear one, all right, at all. All right, we got a bearish pyramid on the weekly, but a bullish, slightly bullish, just holding on with an owl. Everything else is kind of iffy. We do have a green PTF, so probably get above 72. Well, I guess what I would do is hold it. I put my stop maybe down here for right now. The only reason why I think I would hold it at all is because the PTF's green on the 60-minute. So if we get above 72.5, bring it back and let's take a look at it, because we probably at that point want to start trailing our stops up. All right, let's take a look at JCI. You got to, when you look at different trades, you'll have some A+ trades, and then you'll have a lot of B trades. The B trades usually are where you get your losses, okay? But you'll trade more often. So if your risk to reward, okay, on the B trades is high enough for your win rate on those, that's fine. But otherwise, you're going to be looking probably at a losing P&L. So try to focus on the clear A+ trades, okay? All right, so on this situation here, JCI, we got a red PTF on the weekly, green one on here. So it looks like we're going to head back up short term up into here, but I don't think I would do anything with this with a red PTF over here. So again, if you were long term, I mean, you could almost draw, let's see, pennant going across here, something like that. And let's draw another one down here. So you got kind of a pennant there, all right? So you could be going sideways inside this pennant for another year or two. All right. So I guess I would just, if you're going to be in it for that long, pick a stop below here or pick a stop below the pennant. Okay. And keep, as the prices, they condense and stay within a pennant, within the pennant, move your stop up under the bottom of the pennant. Okay. If you get a breakout from the pennant, then use the pyramids. Okay. That's how I would do it. All right, let's take a look at silver. Oh, silver's a good one. Okay, so silver, all right, we actually like silver. All right, we experienced a little bit of volatility in it until it broke out. So here's a pennant on the weekly chart that we were watching. All right, we had a nice breakout there. All right, and so we had a little pullback, came into here, green PTF, green now. So it looks pretty good. So I like silver. And, you know, my target on silver actually is that this is a new move off this bottom area here. So I'm anticipating it getting above 50 short term. All right, so I'm kind of bullish on that. And, you know, again, we recommended this a while back. Is it too late to get in it? Probably not. Nope. Okay, so, you know, I'll put silver down here as a buy. Stop needs to go, I would say, at least below this pyramid here. I would say put it, what's that, 2381. Let's see if this is low enough for that. Yeah, 2381, okay? Or this stop should be fine. This pyramid here, 2386 would be fine. So silver's okay. All right, so that's still good. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, as Gene says, yeah, LPG, we got that down. It's a short-term trade. Again, that one's going to be a quick 1 weeker. And then GCT is a buy as well. So, Eleanor, that's 2 from you. And as Gene says, woohoo, yes, you're on a roll. All right, anything else? Anybody, anything else? Let's take a look at GBTC real quick, because this is the ETF for Bitcoin. And similar situation going on here, okay? We're pulling back into a wave 4. So my target on the wave 4 here is around 47 to 35 on this one. And then we should see bullishness after that. So unfortunately, the cryptos here are pulling back. Again, I know people are predicting very high numbers on the cryptos, and I think you'll get that. You're just going to have to wait a while, okay? So I don't think the bull run is over, but I think you're in a pretty good profit-taking move now in the coins. All right, the other one too, I want to take a quick look at TLT, which is the bonds ETF. So on the bond ETF, kind of holding off doing too much on this. We got red PTF, and that one on the weekly chart concerns me because it's basically saying this is not the bottom. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get a retracement, which I kind of think we may have been trying to get here. And it may try again, but I'm a little skeptical in getting into the bonds at this point for a long-term trade. But once there's no more red PTFs on that weekly chart and we see some bottoming, I'm all in. Okay, so we're going to keep a close eye and watch that one very, very closely. All right, well, I think that's it. All right, I think we got to them. So let me just go over the few here that we found today. Let me switch over and just recap those. All right, so what we have is LPG, all right? That's the one that's a short-term trade for about a week that we based off the 60-minute chart. So if you're into that type of thing, that's a good one. All right, GCT is a buy and silver is a buy still. On the watch list, we got Tesla because that thing, I think, is moving off its bottom. We want a little more follow-through before we actually get excited to that. All right, so now I'm going to go full screen again, and we're going to go take a look at some of the intraday markets. Let's see what's happening on some of these bad boys here. Let me see if I got some charts here. All right, so we got the NASDAQ that started trending like crazy this morning. All right, you can see that moving on up. And I did some scalping on the NASDAQ earlier, but because I could not be there for the trend while doing this webinar, all right, I do not have a position on in the trend trade, which would have been a huge winner. That went from basically 2,500 up to 20. That's a good, huge move. All right, 100-point move on that trend. So you could do the math. You know, multiple contracts are in good shape on that. All right, so that would have been a great day trade today. I think it's too toppy to get in here. Wait for a pullback. Let's see what's going on in the MES market. All right, they got a big move off the bottom there. So everything's trending today pretty nicely. Crude oil coming down a little bit, starting to flip. So you got a number of things starting to roll over here a little bit. So you got to be careful about that. All right. But anyway, my main market that I like to trade, of course, I do look at a variety of different ones, but I do like the NASDAQ overall the best. Okay. So that's just a clear trend up on the NASDAQ. Beautiful move. All right. So that is it for today. You guys have a great one. Okay. We'll see you back here next Friday. All right. And thanks so much. And don't forget to give us a like. And let me just see if there's anything else in here. I think that's it. All right. Once again, I'm just going to post, in case you came in late, I don't know if you can see these, but I'm going to post the Apex prop funding link that we have with the coupon if you're interested in the day trading. And you can do that basically with an evaluation account until you get funded. But the nice thing is you get free data while you're waiting to get funded. So pretty good deal, I think. All right. And I'll put the link up down below in the recording too. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll leave it on here for a little while and then we'll close the room. And again, thanks so much. We'll see you next week.